always been like the execution guy. There's a lot of like people with ideas, and I feel like none of them are like shooting for it anymore. And I think, honestly, like, my biggest fault is that more recently I have been more of an idea guy than an execution guy, but, like, the reason that I got anything I wanted in life was through execution.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. You can support by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that because it helps us grow and I can have more incredible guests on the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover DistroKid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, DistroKid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and so many others. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with two-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, one of my tour companions, JFK Just for Kicks. Welcome to the podcast, dude.
Dude, so happy to be here. Thanks for finally having me on.
How was the drive down here?
It honestly was not as bad as it could have been. I definitely foresaw a lot of traffic heading from New Hampshire to the very bottom of Connecticut. You probably could not be closer to New York if you tried.
We definitely could be. We could be in Greenwich. We could be in Stamford.
Fair.
But we are a little, but I appreciate you taking the trip.
No worries. No worries. I'm happy to be on here, dude. I would have driven many more miles.
Bro, that's a beautiful thing, dude. But I'm happy to see you. Dude, you honestly blew my mind when you first came in here and were like, yeah, I probably haven't seen you in like, I don't know, years. And I was like...
In person, at least, yeah.
Yeah, and I just like had like a moment where I was like, you ever seen like the woman with doing the math problem?
Yeah.
Like that was like me trying to figure it out. Because like, it's so weird that social media, like... I feel like I just fucking saw you today, dude. You know what I mean? It's like crazy. And
I saw your face today for sure.
Yeah, and recently married, dude. Congratulations.
Thanks, dog.
Oh, let's go, dude.
Very, very happy to be lawfully wed to Autumn. She's been my rock through way before I ever met you. So
yeah, I want to talk to you more about you guys connecting, but I'm gonna selfishly talk about us connecting, dude. Okay. So was the first time we met via the Webby tour?
Yeah, in person, yes, absolutely. I knew of you because I had been such a big Webby fan since I was like 16 years old. So I definitely watched a lot of your work and like even followed you on social media and your other work other than with Web. And then, so like hearing you were on the tour was like extra cool for me.
No, that's sick, dude. And I remember the first time I technically saw you might have been in the Wild Things music, or was it the Weirdo music video?
Weirdo came out first, so
okay.
You probably saw me on that. I low-key was on a Webby video before that. That wasn't even my first Webby music video.
Damn, dude.
It was Nightcrawler. It was actually the original.
That was kind of like an era too, and I'm pretty sure like I had Webb on the pod and we talked about it, but I think that was the era like where he like started to shift his career.
Yeah, I mean that was the first Wednesday album was like everything for his launch pad, I think, because I obviously was a fan far before and like kind of watched things start to fall off in a way, and I will never forget I was shooting a music video with Ben Prue, the director.
Incredible director too.
Incredible director, and so he was in the backseat of my car. We were heading to location for a video, and Trevor Finney, another
incredible
great
director,
director, was camera operating. He was my buddy at the time, and I mean we're still buddies. But he was like, yo, Ben, who's the next guy you're working with? You're always working with these crazy artists. And he was like, Chris Webby's been calling me. And I was like, dude, that's my favorite rapper ever. You gotta like tell me when he's at the studio.
So is this how you end up on the shoots with him? Yeah, because I wanted to ask you the whole process. Like, how do you end up on the music videos with Webb to end up touring with him? Like, what does the process of that look like?
Dude, it's the process is a lot of luck, a lot of persistence, and Ben Prue being a really good guy. Basically, I worked with Ben because the audio engineer, Ammo, he actually just DJ'd my wedding. He was working at the same studio as Ben, and his sister was serving at the 99 restaurant with me.
Crazy. I just learned what a 99 was in the last podcast with Matt Corman, dude.
No way.
Never. It's like the Massachusetts Applebee's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I was working with her, and she was like, you got to, work with my brother. And I noticed the same logo on his sweatshirt was what, I saw in these Joyner and Token music videos. And I was like, okay, I want to go work with him. He introduced me to Ben. And then, like I said, like after that video, that very first video of Ben was just gracious enough to actually call me when Webby was at his studio. Didn't have to, like I just asked him to. And then months and months later, after not speaking, he just was like, you said to call you, so I'm calling you. And then I went and I was just gracious to like help out. So like I are grateful, I should say. And that made me like super helpful on set, and he was like, you could use hands like this more often. And then I got to know Webb a little bit better and better, and he didn't even realize I was a fan. I waited until like, it was probably like day 3 or 4 shooting or something like that, and we were just like smoking a blunt, and I was like, by the way, I'm a huge fan. He was like, wow, you've been playing it pretty cool. So he's like, thanks, I didn't even know you knew my music. And then, yeah, things kind of started snowballing in years after that.
And then, so how do you end up on tour? You know what I mean? What's that conversation like? Are you asking Webb? Is the connect with Fury being made? What's that look like, dude?
Yeah, so like I didn't know who Chris Fury was, and like he later became such a like important person in my life because he led to a lot of my dreams coming true. Shout out Fury. But
anything I could do for you, dude.
it started with just knowing Webb, and I asked if he wanted to do a show in New Hampshire because he hadn't done one in there in a long time. And he was like, people usually go to Boston and Vermont, so I don't really see the point. And then he thought about that over a few months and then gave me a call one day and was like, hey, we're actually going to throw New Hampshire on the tour. Want you to open for me. And that was actually the second time I opened for Webb. I had done like through the local bookie, Leeds Edutainment. I did a show with him back in 2017, but it was 2019 that he called me, and like having your favorite rapper ever like call you up to be like, I want you to open, huge opportunity. And so I just made sure I crushed the show, and then after that met Fury, and that's how that turned into like more shows and getting on tour.
Yeah, because I remember I was on that run too, right? So how did we end up connecting? Because I remember your whole squad. Like, but I'm trying to remember, like, was it just in passing? I don't remember, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were in close quarters a lot because of the tour.
Dude.
Like,
Tour
I made it a point to just be like, yo, Mike Squires, what's good? Because I had seen a lot of your work and was like a fan, honestly.
I appreciate that, dude. But yeah, no, it's crazy too. And it's like, what was one of your favorite memories from that tour? Because I know there's so many shenanigans that happened, dude.
So many. I mean, crowd surfing for the first time. Nuts. And then like crowd surfing for the 17th time, like equally as nuts. Like it was just became like routine after a while, which was crazy. I mean, I remember a lot of really good conversations with Dizzy and Hoppa in the green room, and them just like giving me a lot of confidence because I was there as the opener. I'll never forget the very first show. Maine, I think it was like Lewiston, Maine, or somewhere far north Maine, and I remember the green room and everything is underneath the venue, so I'm walking to the stage and I can hear the rumblings above my head and people just like cheering, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like like somebody in like an NFL stadium, like coming out. Like I was just like, this is such a surreal feeling. There's going to be a bunch of people out there. You know, I had never done shows of this caliber. And then coming out on stage, I definitely like designed the song and set to be this way, but like I start rapping off stage and then I run out and start jumping up and down. And I just knew like none of these people know who I am, but they were so happy to see a live artist. And they were just like, had been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I came out and gave them a hell of a show. And I just remember all these faces lighting up and hands going up. And they didn't even have to know my name. They were just like happy to hear some rap. It was sick.
Was it Herman, Maine, dude?
Yes, Herman. I apologize. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I was thinking
I've done Lewiston separately.
The only reason I remember it's Herman, Maine, because I remember calling Spose and being like, yo, Spose, you should pop out of the show. He's like, where's it at? I was like, Herman, Maine. And he was like, hell no, I am not going to Herman, Maine, Mike Squires. He sent me like a voice message of that, dude. So I was just like...
he's the king of Maine.
Yeah,
so
for him not to go to Maine, somewhere in Maine, like... You know, if anyone's going, it would be him, you know, so... Yeah.
I mean, epic venue, epic people. Like, I'll never forget that crowd.
It's kind of near Bangor, though, I think. It's like all the way up there. Like, you're touching the coast almost up there, dude.
It's a trip for me, and I'm in New Hampshire, so it's like definitely out there.
Yeah, dude. So... I mean, I'm glad that was a good experience too on the first show. Like, and you talked about talking with like Hoppa and Dizzy. I remember moments where I spoke with them too I feel like they were just like unintentionally just gem dropping. No, it's like whatever they say, they're just dropping gems, dude. But do you remember something that they said to you?
I mean, they've toured so much, but like, yeah, what I was getting at with when they really like changed my mindset and helped me with like confidence, because just being the opener, not wanting to like step on any toes. I was like, man, I want to like jump in that crowd. I like playing for these these crowds is making me like really want to do some of these bucket list things, right? And I was like, but I'm just the opener, right? So like we got to save the crowd surfing and crazy stuff for later in the show. And they were like, fuck that, man. Get in there. They were like, this is your time. Like, they're like, you have any idea how many balconies we jumped off of, like front flipping and everything, and I was like, all right, I got to do it. And luckily for me, like having that connection with Webby, it turned into me just like crowd surfing on his set, which was just way more lit because
Because he brought everyone out like towards the end. You're saying like,
well, when
you came out during Weirdo.
For Weirdo,
I see. Yeah.
So I would hippity hop up in that crowd, dude. It was just like I came out with the little bunny hat on. Rocked out for it, and then jumped in the crowd. So I guess technically that wasn't my first time crowd surfing, because my first time was at a Black Friday show back in 2018, maybe 2017, maybe.
That's crazy.
No, it couldn't have been 2017. So probably 2018.
Was it the one that we played too?
No.
Okay.
No. So then when we went on tour, I was I just came out during Weirdo show.
So you came out as like Weirdo, and then eventually you started more like being an artist for support, and then I understand.
Yeah. So I came out on Weirdo just that same year that I'd done the video for it's escaping me. I said it already, but
Nightcrawler?
Yeah, Nightcrawler, then Weirdo, then I hit Webby. I remember like I sent an email. I didn't have Webby's number at the time. I sent an email for Where the Wild Things Are. That was like, if you have a costume you think it'd be cool, like email this name. And I emailed it and was like, should the bunny make another appearance? And then Webb just like texted me out of nowhere, like I didn't have his number, and he's like, yo, it's Chris Webby. Saw your email, figure I know you, I could just hit you up directly, like definitely come with the bunny costume.
Webb is so pro bunny suit, it's not even funny, dude. Like, I think if he had the I think it's always a yes on the bunny suit with Webb, dude. Yeah. But I want to, we talk about a lot of the music videos. I know that you've actually had a helping hand in a ton of music videos. Can we talk about some of the videos and how you ended up, connecting with Trev and, Ben up there?
Yeah, so I had connected with Trev before anybody, just because I had a video that I wanted to shoot back in college with my homies. And it was like finals time at college, and we had this kid that we went to school with, and then like we left school, and he just kind of like was too busy to do the video, and I needed a videographer on the fly. I hit this promoter, and he gave me Trevor's name. So Trevor was like, dude, I'm gonna be honest, this is like my second video ever, but like I shot one really cool one with my buddy at college, so like let's see what we can make happen. And we shot this video where we like did Joker makeup and everything, and that was my first experience with Trev. And then I was like, you're amazing, let's do more videos. Then when I obviously found out about Ben, I wanted to like kick it up a notch, but I made a deal with Ben. I was like, hey, like, can you give me like a discount if, you know, Trevor operates the camera? Because I wanted to introduce Trevor to Ben. And they had already met. They had breakfast sometime years prior. And Ben said, I liked him. He was a nice guy. Like, I'm comfortable with him operating my camera. And then they started, you know, working more together. And obviously, like, did a lot of shoots for Token, Joyner, all of them.
And you were just at a VMA nomination party kind of get together, right?
Dude, full circle moment. It was really cool. Yeah, we went to the Limitless studio and just played the VMAs, was around all of the same people that Trevor has had with him for all these like 4th of July parties that we threw like back in the day at the studios, and just seeing like all his like people, his nephews, nieces, and everything there surrounding him and supporting him through this like epic nomination for a VMA, like one of the highest honors you can get as a music video director. It was surreal to experience that.
Yeah, what's some of the craziest videos that you've helped out on?
I would say one of my favorites is "I Love" by Joyner Lucas, because I really enjoyed that song. Probably like a more crazy one would be that Will music video that he did, where he was trying to give Will Smith all his flowers while he's still here, which I love that concept. I love like appreciating people while they're with us and not waiting too long. But that one I'm actually like in. So that's like a really cool experience to be able to be like, everybody knows that song too. They're like, oh yeah, the one about Will Smith. And then it's easy to be like, here's me.
It's crazy though too, because I want to talk to you about just like, you know, the process of music videos, because the final product that people see is far from the amount of work and thought that goes into these videos. So what's a crazy logistic or something that you saw happen on set that you were like, oh my God, this is the craziest, worst thing that could have ever happened? But then I'm sure it ended up working out, I hope.
I mean, a lot of times like losing footage, like stuff like that, like just corrupt drives. It happens all the time. I mean, even my last video, I did it. Like we shaved half my head, and then there was like an issue with the memory card. But like,
no, dude.
on Will, we were shooting, and like it gets to, that video actually shows you the work that goes into it, right? We're moving the green screen, we're doing the makeup, like right there on camera, it's all there. And like that's what I loved about that video. What that video doesn't show you is like how long we were there. We were there for well over 12 hours, like just like working straight, because you only had the studio for the night, and the sun's coming up, and we're you know trying to get everything shot, and that all happened literally like right as the pandemic was occurring. Like we were getting alerts on our phone being like everything's closed, and like we were like, okay, when we leave this warehouse that we were shooting the studio, and like when we leave this place, like we don't know what the world's gonna look like outside, but we just gotta finish this right now. Like, so we just like didn't care about what was happening on the news and the outside world, which was just like an insane night to think back on.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. And it's like, it's insane to think about how much life changed like in that moment, especially like within entertainment, you know. I mean, for everybody, but like, you know, as somebody who like tours for a living, you know what I mean? It's like gone just like that, you know?
And my first tour, that tour that we went on was post-pandemic. So like getting that opportunity, I was like, oh my God, I thought I was never going to be able to do it. When the pandemic happened, I was like sitting there wondering if everything that I've been working towards and like my biggest dreams were just no longer a possibility. If live music wasn't going to be a thing anymore. And, you know, we thought the worst, but like at the time, like we didn't know it would ever get better. Like
a lot of uncertainty, dude.
Dude, a lot of uncertainty. So, you know, coming out of that in 2021 and being able to like go on tour, not to mention it's with your favorite rapper, like that was just for me like mind blowing. It felt like a second like lease on life. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to talk to you though about some of like random photos I saw, and you gotta tell me the experience of like how this came to be.
Okay.
You have a photo with Post Malone. He's
Yes.
looking a little sluggish in the photo. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is pre-tattooed face Post Malone.
Oh yeah.
What's going on there?
Yeah, so just as a fan, I went to go to see what we call Summer Jam in Massachusetts. I think it's like Mansfield, Mass. They have this big like Xfinity Center. So they have usually like the biggest artists in mostly like hip hop, R&B of that year. And so at the time, the headliner was Lil Wayne. The opener was Post Malone. So Post happened to book the same hotel as me. He wasn't like staying wherever like Lil Wayne was staying and everything. And he was just outside drinking a Bud Light. So we were like jamming his music because someone had tipped me off. This dude, Nick Kai, I went to Las Vegas to work with him a little bit. And he had shown me White Iverson, congratulations, and was like, this dude is going to be the next biggest thing. And I was like, okay, cool. We also watched Post Malone's like original videos of like him wearing like a headband and a wife beater and just goofy stuff. And so knowing who Post was and being a fan of his music, we were listening to his music on the way down, and then we get out of the car and who's sipping a Bud Light, smoking a butt outside of the hotel. I'm like, Autumn, this is the guy. Like, can we get a picture? And she didn't even want a picture with him at the time. She was like, oh, that's who we were listening to? Like, and then the very next year, he was headlining Summer Jam.
Crazy, dude.
It was his year to go.
Was it a quick interaction, or did you talk with him at all?
It was an awkward interaction because at first it was the normal, like, hey, how you doing? What's up, man? Took a picture. He was, like, used to that at that point, but he was just kind of, like, treating me like a real person. Nice, normal guy. I didn't want to talk his ear off. There was, like, some other people approaching. I could tell they wanted the same opportunity to take a picture and stuff. But when we went to go find our hotel, we went around this like loop of hallways trying to find our hotel room, and so did Post. And then we like passed, and it was like, "Oh, hey, you again." And we waved, and it was all casual until we went around the loop like the opposite way and passed again. We were like, "We both can't find our room. Like we're both idiots right now."
That's crazy. I mean, that's
it
a
was definitely
hilarious
awkward.
story, dude. Being lost with Post Malone.
Yeah.
So was Summer Jam where you met J. Cole too, or like how did you connect with Cole?
No, so Cole is a weird experience that I was very, very lucky to have. Basically, Joyner got asked to direct a music video for Post Malone, which at the time, like, Ben Prue was directing all of Joyner's videos, which meant Ben Prue was going to be directing this. And so, Joyner had J. Cole fly to Worcester, Massachusetts, in Jay-Z's jet, and J. Cole came with a whole entourage of people that were like shooting a documentary that I hope to God comes out someday. And the treatment for the video was that we put on a play. So I was lucky enough to be able to like put a lot of my friends that are in hip hop and in like part of the scene in the greater Boston area, I guess you would call it. And I was like, do you guys want to be in J. Cole video? And
Okay, so this is a video for J. Cole?
Yeah.
Okay, you said Post Malone by accident. That's why I was
I
like,
apologize.
No, you're good. I was like, yo, that was the craziest transition I have ever made, where it's like, I was like, wait, we go from talking to Post Malone, and J. Cole's coming out to shoot a Post Malone video? I was like...
No, Joyner had...
was directing a J. Cole video.
Right.
Okay, got it. Back on track.
So J. Cole flies over in Jay-Z's jet and starts, rapping in the balcony of this... auditorium where we were like putting on a play. So it was very weird to like people pay thousands of dollars to like watch J. Cole on stage from the balcony, and I was on the stage watching J. Cole rap in the balcony and getting paid to do it. So surreal moment. It was also during the pandemic, so like that picture we have masks on and stuff, but he was very nice. I was very nervous to like ask for like a photo, but it was just kind of like towards the end, we were wrapping up. I asked to grab a pic, and then he was just like, yeah, dude, are you like with the crew? Like, thank you for your help. Like, you were making all this happen. That's awesome. And so that picture lives in infamy to me because like the video never came out. So like, I don't think it ever will.
Have you seen the video?
No. I've seen, you know, pieces of it while Ben was editing, but I think it has something to do with the fact that the song had been leaked. That my buddy Kyle Knight was like showing me the song on YouTube as we were recording it, and I was like, he's like, I've been listening to the song for years. It's just like out on YouTube by some other random person, and the quality wasn't as good and stuff. So I was just like, maybe he didn't want to drop it because of that, or maybe some greatest hits album is coming out one day and the doc will drop and we'll all see that, but who knows?
Yeah, so far we got Lost in the Hallways with Post Malone, a missing J. Cole video. How did you link with Adam 22?
Oh my gosh, how did you find that? Oh, this
we have to know, dude.
No, this is perfect. So I didn't even really know who Adam 22 was. I didn't, you know, follow his stuff that much, but I had heard of his name, knew he was from Nashua, New Hampshire.
I didn't even know he was from New Hampshire. That's crazy.
Yeah, so we used to perform at this little spot called the Carlo Rose in Pelham, New Hampshire, and that's where I, you know, shout out Cody Pope. He gave me like all my first shows and stuff like that. So I was lucky enough to like perform in front of a great little community of people that were really into hip hop in New Hampshire for a while, and we built the scene out. People from Boston were coming up, and then this dude Dom Ciccone booked like some big artist at Carlo Rose, and like I was the one like helping like plug in the speakers there and stuff like that. This was just like a hole in the wall spot that just like was great for community. And who strolls by but Adam 22, and he was just like munching on some Mike and Ike's, and I was just like, yo, dude, you want to get a picture real quick? Because like I had heard who he was. Someone was like, oh my god, it's Adam 22. So I was just like, yeah, let's get a pic. And yeah, I did not realize what that dude was up to. I've now like seen a lot of his stuff on Snapchat or whatever, like Twitter. It all just comes to my feed now. It's nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts, dude.
Very big now.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of like this, and especially like while the SoundCloud rappers like were coming up, like he definitely was like, huge. I feel like super tapped into that. But I want to pull it back to some of just touring in general and like an experience that we had together. We actually had the opportunity to go to ID Labs together, which was really sick, dude.
Yes, that was incredible. That photo that you took of me in ID Labs like has been my like profile picture forever because, man, like when I was a teenager and listening to like, you know, you had Webby, Crash and Dat Piff, you had Wiz Khalifa, Crash and Dat Piff, and like Rostrum Records with Mac and Wiz, like being in their studio like is just like an insane feeling. I mean, Mac always shouted out ID Labs on his tracks. It's like the thing of myth when you're like a teenager and like just so excited about rap music and hip hop of the area. To be in that space was just like mind blowing.
It's a really cool studio too. You know, when you walk in, seeing all the plaques on the walls and everything, and just like the incredible records that have just come from this space.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like all the plaques are on the wall right behind, like in that picture that you took of me, and like you took a couple more of like me and Echo and stuff, and it's just like such a fond memory in my mind of like it was an unexpected
detour.
Yeah,
Shout out Echo.
Yeah, it was just like such a random like we're like riding the van.
Oh yeah, we're
like,
stopping by ID Labs today.
Shout out Fury.
I'm
yeah,
gonna go across the street, get some bogeys. I'll drop you guys off.
Yeah, dude. It was such a cool experience. Like I was like, man, this is tour life. Like just randomly things like this are gonna happen.
It's so random, dude. Like I've just learned to accept it, but touring just like one of the first tours I ever went on. We were quoting this Lil Dicky music video, the Let Me Freak one. You know this where it's like, I think it's Let Me Freak where he's like, you're being weird, what are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's like a line in the song like that. And it was like this girl that like said this in the song. And then on one of the stops on that tour, the girl was literally at the show. And I was like, what the heck is reality right now? I was like, yo, I literally
We just made reference to you.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, you don't understand. We've been referencing you all tour. You know what I mean? So the fact, and it was the last tour stop. And she's like, oh yeah, like my husband directed the music video and he's right over there. So I was like, oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So It's just crazy. The point I'm trying to bring up with this is that when you get touring, like, it's so weird, and it's like it's such a small world in like the entertainment industry where it's like
things that happen too in like points of time. Like when you're on tour, it's like you're on tour time. Like you kind of like forget about the rest of the world because you have to. Like,
it's summer camp, dude.
Right, you have to wake up, like travel, make sure you load in. Then it's meet and greet. All of a sudden you're performing. Then you're watching the rest of the show. We're partying after, and then it's wake up in the hotel room and start all over again. There's no time for like just sitting there scrolling on your phone or anything like that and being locked in. So I will never forget that the Bing Bong era of TikTok was while we were on tour. And I found out who Nems was by meeting him in New Jersey.
Oh, incredible, dude. I remember that show too, dude. Like, Nems is the absolute man, too. I think we were shooting a little bit of a music video or something that day, too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this guy's like a rapper from New York. I don't really know who he is. And then, like, we're all shouting Bing Bong for the rest of the tour. And then I get home, and everyone's saying Bing Bong. And I'm like, wait, how do you guys know our inside joke from tour? I didn't understand. And then I found out he's the biggest thing on TikTok at the time.
It is crazy, dude. Yeah. And I know you've had a lot of touring and show opportunities, too. Like, I know you opened up for Dizzy when he came back.
Yeah.
How did that go?
So I had opened for Dizzy before we ever toured.
Oh, amazing, dude.
Yeah, like there's a lot of good opportunities that like came through Mass. Like I know you're close with Wax. Like I've opened for him and stuff.
Just legend. He's coming here next week. This week, next week. I'm gonna see him this week, dude.
Good.
We're coming up to Boston, dude. Come out to the show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just pop out, dude. I'll add you on the list.
Oh my god, that'd be fantastic.
Done deal.
Yeah, no, huge Wax guy, and like being able to open for him was big. But same venue, Sonia in Boston, Cambridge technically. I did a show with Dizzy. That was like really, really cool. The thing is that like he didn't have a lot of time. Like he saw me right before the show, dapped me up, was like, glad you're playing or whatever, like didn't really know me. And then I waited like all night after the show outside, like to hopefully get an interaction with him.
The blistering cold. Did he just say no?
No.
No, my bad. I was quoting Eminem.
No, I actually just never saw him. I waited for like a solid hour with my friends and like
elusive, dude.
Yeah, and he could have been already on the tour bus for all I know. Like he just
he's gone.
Yeah, so
security guy.
I just like waited and he never came out, and then I was kind of bummed. And then like it's weird, like years later, and he was like one of the most like inviting people and like the person I spent a lot of time with on tour, and like a lot of that time we were like, just avoiding the crowds and stuff, and I kind of understood why he was the way that he was. But it was incredible to have that like quality time, and then him coming to New Hampshire, following tour, that was really cool. It was like, yo, let me like show you how we get down, and
it's always cool showing people where you're from and like what the special hole in the wall spots are and the vibe. Like that's one of my favorite things, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to like I'm bringing Webby to the same venue this year. Like it's like I can't wait to really show him like what we do in my backyard. Like it's like that venue is like 15 minutes from my house. So.
I want to talk to you about that because that show is coming up too. I feel like this is probably a good moment to plug that.
Great moment to plug that. So it was another like great experience. Like I just feel like you thought that the coolest thing ever would be your favorite rapper calling you and asking you to do a show, right? And then it's like getting an opportunity to tour with him is the coolest thing ever. But like it's another level when the manager reaches out to you and for your expertise because they need to fill some dates on the tour. And he's like, we want to do New Hampshire. Like, where should we go?
Yo, listen, JFK, I need to figure out where we're going to stick Webby for this New Hampshire show. Like, I've called up a ton of places. Nothing's landing. Like, where are we going, dude? That's how I imagine the phone call happened.
Dude, I feel like Fury is just going to get a bunch of these like clips of you impersonating him.
They're going to just think so it's like accurate. It's going to feel like another Fury podcast, dude.
You could probably get paid to be the AI voice of Chris Fury.
Like, I would love to get Fury back on the podcast and meet dress as Chris Fury interviewing Chris Fury, dude. That would be fucking sick.
Gosh.
Fury, we got
I don't know. Fury's got some like crazy fits, dude. Like
He's also got some crazy stories, dude.
yeah, oh no, he's a perfect person for a podcast. One would not do for him.
Yeah,
he needs at least like 3 or 5.
Yeah, I got that sense, dude.
But like you would have to majorly like do some like shopping to dress like Chris Fury. If you were gonna,
I'd commit to the bit, dude. I'd shave my head.
Oh my god, I was gonna suggest bald cap, but like
Bald cap actually might be a smarter play. But
hey, I mean, I'm crazy. I've shaved my head and it's already growing back. So
I want to talk to you about a show that you did a while ago, though.
Okay.
Another Connecticut native, though, in the shadows, though, on cue.
Oh my, that was actually like right. That was I would argue that was my first like opening for a well-known name. Like that was like your first like break. It was like right out of college. I had only done shows locally at the Carlo Rose, right? I wasn't really a known name out there, and I just like only emailed the local promoters if I really thought I'd be like a good fit.
That's a smart strategy. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, there's so many people out there who probably just message just trying to get whatever they can, but like, you know, just being realistic and being like, oh, this would actually be a good fit for me is important.
Yeah, because I mean, I figured I'd get lost in inboxes or marked as spam if I'm just like trying to open for everybody.
JFK opens for Chief Keef, dude.
Dude, or worse, that happens, right? Because like, what a hard experience for an artist. We are very used to playing in front of nobody, playing in front of a crowd that doesn't care, and that happens no matter what. But like, if you sign yourself up for that, you have to like sell tickets for the opportunity, and like nobody wants to like hear you play. Then you're standing up there, you know, playing your heart out, and like everyone just is like either booing you or thinks you're whack. Like that is something I never wanted to put myself in. Like it was hard enough doing the small shows,
Bro.
I don't want to play the crazy out of my market shows. Like,
Dude, I'm going to pull it back to the On Cue show, but I got to share this story real quick. So recently, it was a spur of the moment thing. I'm friends with DJ Tommy Carlucci, who was opening for 50 Cent. And he was like, hey, Mike, do you want to come out and do one song with DOS and you guys come out there? And I was like, of course I want to come out to, you know, show love to 50 Cent. Like, you know what I mean? And perform and open up. Like, that's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
So we get out there. You know, I choose Some Love because DOS is on that, who's my homie, who's with me. And I love the song. I genuinely do love the song. It's kind of like it's a hard song to hate, but it's very poppy.
Got it.
So I go out there, and I'm like, who in here loves music? And I see nobody move, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I got 3 more minutes. Who in here loves music? And then I get a little like, and it picked up. It definitely did pick up. It wasn't like terrible, but like I could tell there was a lot of love. There was a lot of love, but there was a lot of people. There was like 5,000 people. So it's like,
man.
you know, even if 1,000 people showed love, there's another
There's a little bit of love.
Yeah, no, there was some love, no pun
Rationing.
intended. But no, I think it was good. We did get a good reaction. But all I remember thinking about as I was doing this was, my God, thank God this is one song. And I am so grateful for the opportunity, don't get me wrong. But it just goes back to what you're saying. Like, you know, A Boogie came in the next day. I opened for him, and it was perfect. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, this is, you know, this is who's rocking with me. You know what I mean? So knowing your audience is mad important. I know it sounds cool to open up for Wu-Tang, but you got to understand what goes into opening up for Wu-Tang. I know, you know what I mean? But bringing it back to On Cue, I do think On Cue is a great fit. And how did that show end up going?
Yeah, that show went fantastic. Ran into Matt Corman in the crowd, by the way.
Amazing,
who's like, yeah, my alumni brother. But yeah, On Cue was just like wicked cool too. He like was cool with like taking a picture with my T-shirt, which was like my thing that I tried to do at the time to like brand myself. Like I have like the same kind of picture with Webby, but On Cue, his album, and I can't think of the name of it right now.
Is it Angry Young Man?
Yes.
Nailed it, dude.
I mean,
Sniped it.
That album I bought that night and just played it relentlessly in my car for like weeks. It inspired me for so much of my own music. Like he just spoke as an artist and as someone that had only been doing it for like a year. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like everything I'm feeling. And
Huey's so dope, dude.
Oh, he's amazing.
I had a weird experience because I found him through Good Music All Day. And then, shout out Tim Weber, dude. But I found him through Good Music All Day. And then my homie Hunter Lyon, who's also a video director, was like, yo, I'm directing a video for this dude on cue. And I was like, oh, shit. And keep in mind, I'm like, dude, I must be like 16, 17 at the time. And I'm like, oh, I literally just saw this dude on this blog. And anyways, my homie Danny, who like was in a lot of videos I was doing at the time, they were looking for actors, so I remember being able to alley-oop Danny into something. But yeah, QE's really dope, dude, and like he's somebody who I feel like never got the shine that he deserved because he is an incredible, and I don't want to say that though 100% because I know he was on the Eminem album, but to me, sonically for me, the music that he's making, like,
top tier. He definitely, for like his talent, even though he's done some amazing things and is like in a good place, like we think he should have like superseded that times 10 because the way that I see it, dude, if Post Malone never like had his like run that was on Q's lane all day. Like they had the same like little like voice tickle thing. Like, I don't know. I hear it and I was like, man, like, this is what people want to hear right now. Why isn't like this like gaining some insane traction? And like I watched him grow a ton from that point, but was surprised with the way that it impacted me. I was surprised to see that it wasn't impacting others, but
yeah, and I always looked at him because the way that like, and because OnQ's music was something that I heard early on. He was just really good at how he like branded things, and like his videos were very like pushing the envelope. You know what I mean? Like the one that he did with Hunter with all the memes was like one of the most insane videos of all time, dude.
Yeah, no way. That's the song that like changed everything for me. Like it's about like not giving up. It's about like, persevering, and like the way that you package that and deliver it to a bunch of millennials that like were like logging on to Mac computers all the time and seeing these memes of Willy Wonka and this and that. Like that was just like the perfect balance between like legitimate artistry and like great marketing.
It's funny though because I'm having kind of like a full circle moment of our conversation, like just how you were like an extra in like some of the Joyner videos. I'm an extra in like I helped out with the No Way video. You don't really see me in it. Like if you look at the camera reflection, I'm one of the camera guys in that video. But I think you had another song called Cry Wolf that I'm in. Yep. Like, but it's crazy because early on I connected with Hunter Lyon, and Hunter was one of the people who really like, he like looked out for me super early in my career. He almost, I like shadowed him on a ton of music videos. So I was able to learn a ton from him. And I didn't expect this conversation of me asking you about opening up to OnQ to go back to my roots as a video director. But it's kind of crazy how it's similar to like you helping out on set. You know what I mean?
No, but it's like, it's everybody has paid dues, whether they look at it like that or not. Like we've all like been deep rooted in like a lot of other people's success before we can have our own at all.
And another thing to bring up, it's like, when you have like, you're doing these, I just remember just helping Hunter on set. You know what I mean? It's like you meet a ton of people while you're doing that too. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure the amount of people that, you met J. Cole out of like, you know what I mean? So it's crazy how like, even though it might not be directly aligned with you wanting to be an artist and stuff, it like low key is because, you know what I mean? It all is part of the bigger picture.
Yeah, like networking is obviously like a huge part of what we do, but and it comes naturally to us, and that's why like it's led to success. But I think the biggest thing for me being on set for all of those music videos was being around the caliber of artists that they are, because that helped me elevate myself. I kind of like got into a different headspace, whereas I feel like building through the local scene, I was able to like learn a lot of the do's and don'ts so that you don't embarrass yourself when you get the chance to open for all these like larger artists.
It's so important, dude, because how you carry yourself, especially in entertainment, determines if you stay there or not.
Exactly. And so like even just being around artists and like just having the wherewithal to like know like how to behave and stuff like that, like that part kind of came naturally, which just led to opportunities of like, all right, he can hang, like, let's give him a shot. And I think that without being able to come up through its own like local scene and a grind and know what that is, and then, you know, be in front of like bigger artists and just being smart enough to soak that in. Don't just like stand there starry-eyed, like listen to what the conversations are, like gain those gems and jewels that like other people don't have access to. You have an opportunity in front of you.
It's real, dude. I'll be frank with you. Ever since we started this little section of conversation, I've had PTSD about a situation where someone who didn't know how to handle themselves. And I want to share this story real quick. And I'm not going to drop any names because I can't, because then it becomes too obvious. But I went to a show with an A-list artist, right? And I went and, you know, I've known this A-list artist for a little bit. So I messaged them. I was like, hey, let me come kick it after. They're like, cool. Gonna have security come get you. As I'm going, the security's coming to grab me. Someone in the crowd's like, Mike. And I'm like, hey. And this person latches on to me because they know I know the artist that they just were here to see. And I'm doing everything to be like, yeah, they're just coming to get me. Like, and then, so now the security comes to me and they're like, oh, and it's me and my girlfriend. And then it's him and his girlfriend. And then, so he comes and grabs me and my girlfriend. And then the security guard goes, this is where I messed up. He said, are they with you? And I look at them and he's smiling. He's like, thumbs up. And I'm like, yeah, he's with me. So we go back there and, you know, I connect with this artist. You know, he's on the road. I don't just want to say what up, you know, happy to see him, happy to see everything's going well. And that's pretty much that. As I'm like leaving, all I hear is this person that I brought to the back talking with said A-list artist, and they're just like, Mike Squires. And I was like, oh no. Like the second they said my name, it was like a javelin going through me. And then I was like, no, this needs to stop. And then he said, yo, yeah, Mike Squires. And I was like, no, dude, no, stop bringing up my name. Like, and then he was just like, bro, he must have said my name like 30 times. And every time he said it, I was like, yo, no. So this goes back to like how to carry yourself, right? And it's not that I did do something wrong. I brought somebody back there who shouldn't have been there. But what I will say is, some people just don't know how to carry themselves, dude. And like, because he was an idiot and like he was definitely drunk, like he like made me look like an idiot. So I need people on here to like learn from my lesson. I'm sure I'm good with everything, but you know, you are the people you hang around. If they're gonna drunkenly yell your name, it is a representation of you. So I just needed to share that story.
I think your relationship with whoever that was like is important on whether or not you're gonna like claim them, right?
Yeah, and it's fine. Like I know I'm good with said person. Like I'm not worried at all. But you know, when you barely see people, and then when you do see them, it's like, you know. No,
I mean the person that you brought backstage.
Oh yeah.
I feel like if that's my homie, I mean, I'm obviously gonna like give him a little pep talk beforehand on like how to handle themselves.
It happens
if
so
I
fast.
doubt. I'm not blaming you. You're not responsible for other people's actions.
I hope everyone thinks like that.
Because the assumption should be, all right, I'm about to introduce you to somebody very important. Don't make an ass out of you or me. Like, I feel like that goes without saying.
I don't think
for some people it doesn't.
I don't think the energy was like, yo, who the fuck's this idiot? Is that Squires boy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like frozen, just like, it is, but it isn't, you know? But sometimes you just can't handle it. And I think it was I don't think it was as bad and nightmarish as I felt it was. You know what I mean? You tend to find things are worse for you than like what the actual reality of things are.
I was given that advice recently. Somebody was like, hey, like, most times, it's not as fucked up as you think it is, man. And I was just like, damn, that's kind of beautiful. Like, you know, and it probably is true because it could be me just feeling this way because I was like, liability, dude. But, like, really, like,
most people probably haven't thought twice about that instance. You know what I mean? It's just me, just when we talk about people who can't handle themselves around people.
You're like, boy, do I have a story.
Yeah, dude. But I wanna pull it back too. I want to talk to you about your collective, dude.
Yeah.
Minds of One.
Minds of One Collective Genius.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah, super proud of the collective. This was an idea by Ian 13 Ball. He came to me many years ago at the Carlo Rose, and we had been rapping with our mutual boy. He went by Clueless at the time. He's going to make a little comeback called Recluse. But we were kind of just like chatting ideas, and he was like, so I've always had this idea of like a rap supergroup, and he was like, called the Minds of One Collective Genius, and he's like, but coming to this Carlo Rose, he's like, I see all these talented artists. He's like, what if we like all band together? And I was like, cool, that's like an amazing concept. Let's put it into action. I've always been like the execution guy. Like, there's a lot of like people with ideas, and I feel like none of them are like shooting for it anymore. And I think honestly, like my biggest fault is that more recently I have been more of an idea guy than an execution guy. But like the reason that I got anything I wanted in life was through execution. So I was like, cool, let's bring it to life. And then we did. And then we met all these other artists, and it turned into like more than just like hip hop. It's like all encompassing artistry from Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And like we're bringing in artists from all over the place in New England, and just focusing on like your strengths, and not like having to put so much monetary investment in your craft as most artists have to do, but instead sharing our skills and strengths with each other so that like we can produce amazing content and music without having like to pay studio time or what have you. Like we were able to do a Kickstarter, and through people donating verses and beats and all kinds of different things, we built a studio in my basement that now I have artists like different days of the week. They just hit me up. As long as they're a member of the Minds of One Collective Genius, they like get to record in the studio for free because they help donate to build it. And it's kind of like a shared space now that we don't have to charge by the hour or anything like that. It's kind of like a beautiful way for artists to all work together. And the coolest part has been that in the past year, when I'm getting married, I'm putting a lot of focus there, and kind of stepped away from pushing the collective and running the collective. And I talk with 13 Ball all the time. It's like it grew legs of its own. Now we have like the other members of the collective like running the pages and producing content for it, that where I didn't do anything for like an entire year, and it still exists. And that just tells me it deserves my attention. And now we're actually going to be rebuilding the website completely, and starting to go much harder with the Minds of One Collective Genius.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned that I thought was interesting is that like, execution. You know what I mean? Because, but the thing is, you just never know who's listening. Because I know one time when you were in Ireland, a fan stopped you, dude.
Wow, you are like Nardwuar.
Doing my homework, dude.
The deepest cuts. Yeah, that was a crazy trip. Went to Ireland with my family to see where my dad's side of the family's like ancestry is from. So we had a grand old time, and one of the craziest moments was being inside a little chapel, and someone just shouts out, "Just for kicks," and my dad like is sitting there swearing in a chapel, being like, "No fucking way is this happening right now." And at the time, my album was Local Celebrity. So they all like made fun of me, and they were like, "Now you're an international celebrity."
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah, that was wild. I mean, truth be told, that fan was from Windham, New Hampshire. It was just a happenstance situation.
Still cool, dude. It happened in Ireland, so it's international, dude.
It's. I mean, now I have international fans. I have fans in France and like love in Australia and all that stuff. But like, yeah, it was crazy at the moment just to be like, no way. I'm just like in a whole other country.
Yeah, dude. I want to talk to you. I'm going to start bringing this to the end zone. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about a struggle that you had to overcome in your career.
Okay. And it's not a specific struggle. You just...
Yeah, I'm kind of letting you decide the struggle in this one.
Man. I think the easy one that comes to mind is during the pandemic, because I was living with my parents at the time still, and my mom wasn't someone that like wanted to be exposed to what we thought then was like a super deadly virus and all this stuff, and again, just like a lot of like, we had no information then. We were just going off of what the news were telling us, and like, I didn't leave my house for a really long time, which hard enough on the mental, right? But I didn't go to a studio, so I was like, I have no way to record music. Created a lot of music, had no way to record it, and that I felt stunted me as an artist because I wasn't able to like get things out. So that's why we built like the studio in my house. I was like, this can never happen again, no matter what. So now I have no more excuses. But I don't think that was probably like the hardest thing. I think the real hardest thing was in between my own 2 ears. You know what I mean? It's like the mental game. I remember being 24 years old and I had a lot of insanely great things happen in the first 2-3 years of rapping, where I was on this like parabolic trajectory and felt like I was untouchable and this was really going to happen and I was going to have far more success than I even have had. And I hit like a wall mentally and just really thought it wasn't going to work. And doubt controlled a lot of my actions. And I was nasty to a lot of the people that cared the most about me. I didn't know how to handle what I was going through. I got therapy, and that helped me a ton. It made me do things that I thought were the answer that I had to like grow and figure out aren't. But the therapy nonetheless, like just having someone listen and bounce ideas off of, I found out like, so now when I hear people like struggling about like certain things, I'm like, I cannot recommend therapy enough to you, because that will unlock things about yourself that will be a cheat code. And I think anybody's biggest opponent in life or enemy is themselves. I remember telling my buddy that the reason that we could rap and be successful at it is that we put 100% of ourselves in, and there's nobody in this entire universe that's putting 100% of themselves against you. So like that's the only way to beat it. Problem with that comes with like when you're against yourself. Mm. That's the only person that can hold you back.
That was very well said, JFK, dude.
Yeah, thank you. I haven't thought about that in a long time. That was some odd years ago, and I definitely wrote some good music and dealt with that therapeutically, but no longer in that place and never want to go back.
Yeah, and, bringing it back, we talked about Autumn a little bit in the beginning. I think having a partner that's super supportive has probably been incredibly helpful through not just your music career, but just life in general. Yeah,
and I mentioned, like, being nasty, those that are closest to you. Like, I rejected a lot of help from her. I sometimes viewed her as, like, holding me back from my full artistry potential and things of that. Like, when you blame others, when you have your own thing going on, it creates a lot of, like, stress, and, like, it was things that we had to work through in our relationship. But, you you land on the simple fact that none of this would have been possible without her, and could not be happier. Day in and day out, I like start every morning with her and end every night with her, and like it is what keeps me going for sure. I'm just like excited for our future. I would say like, you know, I haven't put out a ton of music recently and stuff like that, but I had a lot of dreams that I achieved very quickly that I wasn't planning to achieve that quickly, and it kind of left me with like a point in my life of like, what do I do next? I didn't think I would get this far so soon, and so I went on to achieve the other goals that I had in life, which is like getting married and now, you know, hopefully starting a family soon, and like that obviously is 50% her, if not more. So I can't be more thankful to have a partner like Autumn.
Yeah, and you know, did you have a moment where something was said to you or like something that like clicked where you're like, that kind of changed your perspective?
It's a really good question. I think a lot of little moments. Like I can't name one specifically, but I know the feeling that I had, and I wrote a song about it. The feeling that I had the second day, because I met her at a show, and then the next day I went to the beach to meet her, and like I remember knowing then like that she was gonna be a part of my life forever. And then, you know, you fast forward through all the years and you have your ups, you have your downs, and you have your doubts, and I just kind of knew I was always going to end up here, and it's where we both should be. But I can't think of like a specific time someone said to me, like, I know my father has said to me, like, when you know, you know. And I think, like I said, I knew that day, like spinning around in the sand, but at the same time, all like throughout our relationship, it's like, you know, what you think you know what love is, and you don't, and then you figure it out, and then, you know, probably a few months not a few months, a good year before I proposed, it was like, I know, and I'm never gonna not know.
JFK, what's your message to the world?
My message to the world is that everyone is absolutely capable of their wildest dreams. It's going to take way more work than you want it to. It's not going to happen when you want it to or necessarily how you want it to, but you are capable of incredible even when you're average, and you just got to go get it.
JFK, thank you for coming on the Mike Squires and Friends podcast, dude.
It's been a pleasure, dude.
That was a really strong ending, dude.
Thank you.
We went from like your whole like life story, and then we got like real serious and buckled down there for a second, dude. But I love it, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you know what's funny? Like, we've spoke a lot, but I don't think we've ever really had like a very serious conversation, dude. Like, probably, but not like.
It's definitely been way more of like, hey, what goofy things can we do on tour? And like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
dude.
Like,
Because on tour, you're just like trying to keep morale high, dude.
Exactly.
Like,
We just need to make it to the next stop.
yeah, talking about introspective things on the road might just be like, oh no, not now, dude.
Not now. This isn't the time. I gotta compose myself to get on stage, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so if people want to connect with you and find you, how can they?
Yeah, I'm at Just for Kicks JFK on all social media, besides Twitter. I think that one is Crypto Joe. But yeah, you can also search me as Just for Kicks on Spotify or Apple Music, anything like that.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Dude, thanks again for having me.